Okay, hello. Back with, I guess, I don't know what the hell this video really is. I'm going to talk about Blue Monday and Ruby Tuesday, okay? And the idea of this reference is Blue Monday is tomorrow, and Ruby Tuesday is, of course, the next day on, Tuesday, okay? And let me just show you the days, what we're talking about here real quick in the calendar. March, we will go to May. Here we go. So Monday is the 8th, okay? Holiday, remember that with Madonna. This was a day that when I found out they were going to have this as a bank holiday in England, I was like, ooh, that does link quite nicely to Madonna if we had a holiday, okay? Especially the line in there, some time to celebrate, release the pressure, something like that in the song. Of course, the dam breaking open would be a very large release of pressure. And of course, here's the 5-9. Okay, when I'm looking at 5-9 for new people, I'm talking about the potential event that may occur at the Hoover Dam on the 9th of May or sometime during the night between the 8th, 9th, and the 10th. But I believe it will connect to the 9th, probably mostly. Probably mostly. But of course, the 11th. See, these days all the way through from the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, and actually the 12th actually is pretty interesting as well. But remember the 5th of November, which has the same numerology as the 11th of May, 5/11. These are all interesting dates, and of course with the 131 here on the train and Back to the Future, the thing that gets destroyed. And I've gone over so many times the Paris train crash. Is it 1885 Montparnasse or whatever the hell it is, with all the Madonna numbers on that train, and how that is very similar in an idea of the train coming over the cliff there into the ravine. And again, with that 131, a reference back maybe to Madonna. But, if I were going to pick a day out, again, back with blooming Madonna already, before I even getting into this proper decode with Blue Monday and Ruby Tuesday, is the idea that I would go with the 8th right now, tomorrow, for Madonna. Dying on Blue Monday, obviously. Blue is a reference to the metaphysical. Monday is a reference to the metaphysical with the moon day. Okay, and then of course Ruby Tuesday, the day when the blood flows. Yeah, the ruby flows. Okay, the Colorado flows again. Well, it's still flowing, but the idea that it's not dammed up anymore. When the Hoover Dam would break, would be the idea of man coming alive again. The ruby slippers. Okay, three clicks, 3 taps. Tap it trice. That was in the Kentucky Derby, and this is the main reason why I'm talking about Madonna again now. Unbelievable. So this is going to be all over the place, right? But this is unbelievable because we watched the Kentucky Derby, right, and we all had a little bet on who was going to win. Of course, my horse came last, King Russell. Obviously, King and Russ and L is Red King, Red God, King and Red God. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. But there's like a ton of names in the Kentucky Derby here. Some of these horses, like Reincarnate, Sun Thunder, Hit Show, Rocket Can, I mean, Raise Cane, King's Barnes. I mean, Tap It Trice, there, when I see Trice, I'm thinking 3 times. Okay, a bit like thrice, or Trice is like 3 times. Okay, so Tap It So that's like Dorothy clicking her heels together 3 times. Tap it 3 times, okay? Or the tap. Whatever. Anyway, Angel of Empire. I mean, you just can't write this stuff. Two fills. Some people have been talking about two fills, obviously, because of the Twin Towers. But when I saw Mage, I immediately, because I'm a wannabe dyslexic, I'm thinking Madge, okay? I'm thinking Madge straight away there, or Maggie, or whatever, but I'm thinking Madge, because I can't read properly. And the number 8, and I'm like, and the colours, I'm thinking, I just got a Madonna reference for some reason, okay? With the Argentina thing going on with the colours, and also, the Virgin Mary colours, and May 8th, right there. It just says it right there. MA. If you just, I mean, I don't know what you have to do to for me to explain why that's May 8th, but MA, Mage, May 8th, okay? And I'm thinking Madonna when I see that name, like Madge. So I'm like, I've got to do another reference to Madonna. So anyway, but I was going to hold off on the Madonna thing because the May 8th reference that I'd looked at before was just basically all in the table, okay, all in the chart of Lorraine. And for new people, I know this is just completely all over the place and this sounds nuts, but for people that watch the channel, I'm going to go to the I'll go to the chart now, and we'll just look at the Madonna reference. Because I wasn't going to do this, I was just going to let it play out and just see if something happened with Madonna. But when that bloody horse screwed me up, basically, because as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, I'm going to do a bloody another Madonna thing here. But anyway, let me show you why, when you cross-reference in here, like with the 5, and if you're new here, just go watch this first, okay? Go watch that video, and this will explain this, okay? But when we cross-reference 5/8, so this is the date that we would say for Madonna, okay? When we cross-reference that and we come down, look what we've got. We've got the 86, which is to do with her birthday, yeah? The 186. And that 186 is actually one of the places where her birthday, you can actually read it backwards, and it's correct, if you like, because it shows up in several other places to do with other numbers, but this is one of the places where you can actually read it fairly correctly in reverse. So 16 is obviously 16, and then 8 is August, the 16th of August, right? And what's interesting about this is it ties into this number next to it, because this 1, you'd have to borrow it over to make her birthday, but this 1 is connecting her birthday to this number here, the 139, which in itself is a 5/9 reference to get down to this point. And that 139, as you see, I've still got this sort of, what I'm calling this the womb here, this V, and then here's the upward arrow of man here. So the physical and then the metaphysical, okay? And this 139 is, the numbers right here that are between those 2 points, okay? If you like, at the Vesica Pisces right here, right at the point of the cross, okay? So those 2 numbers tied together, and I was like, that's pretty interesting that this ties together here. It ties together with the cross reference, okay? It ties Madonna's birthday together with that, and it also ties back to this day here, the 5/9, okay? That's all I'm going to say about that Madonna reference, okay? Again, let's get rid of this stuff now. In Ghost Town, right at the end of that song, If we go to Ghost Town real quick, I've got it up here somewhere. I'm sure I do. I've got so many. We have that 2/8 reference right here, which, again, if you mirror that, that's a 5/8 reference, okay, or an 8/5 reference, whichever way around you want to look at it. But it's there, Don't know. I'd be. I mean, if Madonna were to die, if Madonna were to die tomorrow, I definitely would pop down the grocery store and pick up an extra couple of cans of baked beans, just on the off chance that something does kick off big time. But I don't know. Let's continue on, right? Let's leave Madonna behind now, and we'll go to what will we go to? Oh, I will say one thing about this Madonna Ghost Town is during this thing she's got the golf clubs, right? And I hadn't thought about this before, but one of the big time all-star golfers of all time is, of course, Tiger Woods. And I believe if you put Tiger in the Gematrinator, it'll give you a 59. It'll spit a 59 out somewhere. So that 5'9" with the Tiger reference, I just wanted to mention that. And the only reason why I thought about it, as somebody mentioned it on another video, I can't remember what video I was watching, and I just watched Vegas Vacation with Chevy Chase, and during that film, basically there's a hint that he's turned into a tiger. Okay, they go to see, oh God, what the hell did they go to see? The two, I can't remember the two magicians. But anyway, they go to watch them in Vegas, and basically the idea is he gets turned into a tiger, and there's that 5'9" reference. Okay, during that film. The reason why I've rewatched that film is because of because actually I watched another film. Boy, this is going to be all over the place, but I'll show you the other film. I'd watched, what was it? It was free on, here it is, Memoirs of an Invisible Man. Okay, and the reason why Chevy Chase is so important is because of the idea of Bye Bye Miss American Pie, right? And so I'm like, well, okay. I just started watching it for some reason. I actually just went to the end of the film initially, and there was just so many 5'9" references. I sat and watched the whole film. Okay, and it's actually not a bad, for Chevy Chase, it's not really a bad film. But that whole reference with drove my Chevy to the levee and the levee was dry with American Pie, this is why he's important, and of course, look when they've got the release date on this film. It's 99 minutes long. That's one thing. Okay, again, that's a Vegas reference with 99 red balloons. And February the 28th is the 59th day of the year. That is the next day is the day when the one comes. Every 4 years. As I keep going on about, oh look, we've got the 144 million at the bottom here. 144, 14.4 million, but the 144 is right there. Okay, and again, the 144, the reason why that's so important with this idea of like the deluge and the meek inheriting the earth is the numbers that surround that 5'9". Yeah, 144. Okay, they're surrounding this number 5'9". Okay, so anyway, right, let's get back to this. Hang on. Anyway, this is the reason why I went back and watched Vegas Vacation. And of course, I've talked about it before in videos ages ago, because during that film, they go to the Hoover Dam. He starts a leak in the Hoover Dam, okay? That's that is a good reference right there, okay? Not only that, but he loses his family during that Actually, there's a ton of stuff in Vegas Vacation, actually, which I probably should. It's a thing in its own right, a video in its own right. But um, he loses his family. He gets basically he goes through a door he shouldn't have, and he gets shut out, and he ends up having to climb up the Hoover Dam. Okay, and again, it's this idea of getting over the wall, or getting over the dam or through the dam. Um, so yeah, I don't know. But there is a ton of 5'9" references at the end of this thing. And I think there might be some 2'9" or 129 references in this film as well. So I don't have the bits up. There's just so many at the end of it, on doors and stuff and on taxis and etc. It's just not funny, okay? And the whole idea of the film as well, the invisible man, the fictional man, again, you know, the metaphors are all right there, okay? Anyway, getting sidetracked. What did I want to talk about? Let's go. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. With that being out the way, what was I going to? Let's go back to Blue Monday and let me show you this part, okay? Because this, I don't want to do the whole thing. It's so packed full. Like to see everything in this, you need to run it down to like quarter speed and be on the blooming space bar to stop and start it real quick, because there's so many little flashes of information or ideas that come across on this thing. I mean, right here we've got a walking the plank. The idea of walking the plank. Right now, we've got balance going on right here. But if we step into the abyss, you see what's going on here. The idea of walking the plank, staying on that balanced line, and then the problem is what we tend to do is we tend to dive into this thing, the fictional waters, okay? And I believe that's what's going on here in this clip, actually, or at some point in here. But this is all over the. Oh yeah, there we go. She was wearing these deals earlier. Okay, these, I don't know what the hell they are. Are they ski boots or something? I don't know what kind of boots they are, but they were, like another reference to Dorothy. You know what I mean? The red shoes, the ruby slippers. Okay, and obviously she's in there now. Okay, that could be the idea of the. And again, here we go with the net. Getting caught in the net, and watch this board come across like the dam wall forming. Okay, I mean, it's absolutely plumb loaded, but this is the point I wanted to get to. We've got like the blood moon here, maybe, and look what they're both reading. Reading is the fiction. Yeah, it's a metaphysical reference here. But this is the thing right here. This flipping vacuum cleaner, or Hoover, as we like to call them in England. Here it is. It pops up right here as that damn wall was coming across. It's popped up, okay. And we have some stuff continues on here. Let me see if I can stop it in the right spots here. But there's all kinds of stuff. Here we go. Glasses. 118 reference. There we go. That almost looks like a catalogue, buying and selling commerce. Here's the twins again. Oh my goodness. What the hell do we have going on in the banana? I don't know, but there's all kinds of stuff in here. I think Finis Temporis 88 has a video on this showing all of the 9/11 references with the Twin Towers in here. Here we go again with the one falling, the tower, one of the towers falling there, you know what I mean? There's the shark, and here is, looks like the RAF, looks like gonna bomb something, and here's the fire hydrant, or the place where the water comes out of, being, I don't know, blown up by the dam busters there. Again, There's the one falling again. This is the physical tower. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's the metaphysical tower because it's blue. Here we go. Blue cross. With a red background. That's also interesting. The donut. Look. Hoover's gone now. That red with the blue cross being into the red now rather than red being in blue, with the shoes, with the what we just saw, the opposite happen with the shoes being in the, given the hint that one had gone into the fictional waters. That's the reverse with the blue cross in the red, okay, in the blood. The living man has now taken control, and the Hoover has disappeared. Interesting, isn't it? Oh, it's back again. Blimmin' hell, I don't know what's going on. But I tell you, this thing's all over the place because you can see the same thing go on here again. The Hoover Dam's back again. Now you got a dead space here like Monolith. Dog God is upside down here. You know, so I mean, it's kind of all over the place with the, now the whole lot's empty again, you know. So this whole thing, I'm pretty sure I've been through it before though. Maybe I never made the video, maybe I've still got it sitting somewhere, but there's tons of bits and bobs of references in here. Here we go. Here's the two chairs again, the two fills, but the two chairs are the king and the queen's throne, yeah, the physical and the metaphysical right here. And of course what we've done is we've gone into, obviously, the Hoover Dam. If you look at the shape of the Hoover Dam, it looks like a chair. You know, the face of the dam looks like the back of the chair, and then there's two arms coming off of it, okay. It's a throne, and we're stuck. It's the Queen's throne, and we're stuck inside there, okay. The chair's around the wrong way, if you like. Here we go though. Here's God. God Dog is bridging. This is what God does, bridges. This is balance between these two things. Okay, so this is Twin Tower reference, this is Hoover Dam reference, this is balance reference. Anyway, there was another, well, anyway, I don't want to spend too long with this, but Blue Monday, interesting. There's the carrot. The carrot probably represents, in this, the male phallus, and an orange color like the sun. Again, that thing was just floating around there for a second, and again, it just seems to skip backwards and forwards between being in, behind the bars, so to speak, caught in the net, caught in the trap, caught in the matrix, and then being released from it. Okay, and so there's some birthing. I think there's an old girl at the start of this, an image of somebody giving birth, sort of thing. Oh, and the tennis ball as well. That's what I wanted to talk about. Obviously, the 10 IS, the 1015. Again, that's a 511 reference in the numerology there. 511, and it's also a 510 reference as well. Okay. So again, with that holiday on 510 or 51, it's just interesting, you know. And again, the dollar bill itself could be a 5-1 and a 5-11 reference, just with the symbol of the actual dollar sign, with the S, with the either number 11 going through it or the number 1 going through it, as it is now. So again, you know, blimmin' hell, I'm all over the place, and then I've got men in hats up here ready to click on to as well, because this is a May Day ritual thing going on here in Men Without Hats, sorry. The safety dance. Check the end of that song, that video out. So anyway, there's Blue Monday. I happened to look at, why was I looking at Ruby Tuesday? I can't remember why I thought about even doing this video now, but Ruby Tuesday. Let's see if I got it at, where have I got it up here? Oh, do we want to go to anything with the release dates or anything with this? 3/7 again, L, 409, the 49, which this year was Christ's rebirth, Easter, and the 729 here with the 12-inch version, which 729 was the white wedding with Diana and Prince Charles. And what was I say? Obviously, Billy Idol has a reference to the white wedding, and that's what we're looking at. Really, is the end is the beginning again. So you know, the red, white, and blue, blue to red to a white wedding, to a renewal of vows, which again, that shows up in Vegas Vacation. That idea. Chevy's gonna renew his vows with, I don't even know what her name is in it, the wife in Vegas. Okay, and again, Marty gets married in Chapel O' Love in Back to the Future 2. They have a reference to that, them getting married in, I don't know if it necessarily is Vegas, but it's Chapel O' Love, so you would think Vegas. I've lost my train of thought again now. Anything else to say about this Blue Monday? Interesting with the floppy disk here that needs to turn into a hard disk. But yeah, the white wedding, a renewal. And in White Wedding, Billy Idol's the one that's in charge when they have that renewal. Okay, and that's what happens when the reset happens. It's about man taking back possession of the world, basically. Anyway, what else have I got to say? Let's get to this blooming. See if I can't find this Ruby Tuesday thing. And then I've got some. I'm going to be all over the place, and I probably might even end up going back over some of the stuff. Ruby Tuesday. Let's. So Rolling Stones, if you don't know already, and obviously the idea of that rock, yeah, the black pearl rolling out from in front of the sun to allow Christ out of the cave, yeah, the resurrection. Rolling Stones, so that's obviously important reference right there anyway. And they have a double A side, okay? So a double A would be 1-1. Nice little reference to 11 again there with double A side. And it's Ruby Tuesday and Let's Spend the Night Together. And for whatever reason, those two became a double A side. And it was actually, I believe, if you read this through here, Ruby Tuesday actually took off in America, whereas I think Let's Spend the Night Together was more of a hit in maybe England. And so because they came out around the same time or whatever, for whatever reason, they end up being a double A side. I can't bother to reread it and explain it correctly. You can just read the Wikipedia on it. But that's interesting, because I'm like looking at this with the 3-1-12, the 3-1-2, which of course, again, 3-1-2 is the start of the whole thing, the whole set of Lucas numbers, which is so important, right? But the 1-3-1 again, yeah, back with. Do I need to show you that again? The 1-3-1. Go back to it, Dan. Remember. Okay, 1-3-1 right here, the 11th of May. Okay, this is important. Okay, where the hell was I at? Bloody hell, this is the problem with too many tabs. So that's important. Obviously these two are going to come out at the same time. So I thought, well, we'll click that and have a look at it, because Let's Spend the Night Together. Okay. you could look at that a lot of different ways, like what's going to happen during the night on Ruby Tuesday. You know, and obviously spending the night together is the idea of going into the matrix, okay? And it's a 329 length on this song, and I'm like, 329. Okay, that links right into it as well. Links right back to this number because the 9 is right here, and here's the 2-3, the 239, which is, you know, to me, I know we're jumping over this 14 here, but this is, again, here it is. Okay, there's the reference right there. And what was also interesting about that is, again, the 23rd. This idea here with 923 is the autumnal equinox, more often than not. Okay, around that date, and what we're dealing with is coming out of the Virgin Mary at that time. Okay, Virgo, and going into Libra, into balance. Okay, and in Libra is balance, the balance scales. Okay, well, I can't draw them. Don't even try to draw them down. Okay, the balance scales is the cross. Yeah, put your arms out, put one thing in one arm, in one hand, and one thing in the other hand. The heart in one hand, the feather in the other hand. That's the weighing scales. That's the cross. That's balance. Okay, enough waffle. Okay, get rid of that rubbish. Okay, but again, I'm looking at this, and then I see this on this side of this other song by them, and it's have you seen your mother, baby, standing in the shadow? And I'm like, oh wait, that song title, that's nuts. And then I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh blimmin' hell, and we've got another September 23rd reference right here. And then look at side B on this thing. Who's driving your plane? And I'm like, oh my goodness, you know, who's driving the plane? Somebody crashed the plane into the towers, you know. Interesting. Anyway, I don't know. What else have I got going on here? So we've done New Order, with Blue Monday. Now we're on Ruby Tuesday. I'll tell you something else that's interesting over here in America is that, being a farmer, I use red diesel, is what we call it in England. Okay, diesel with less tax on it, basically, for field use. And over here they call it Ruby. I just thought it was interesting. They just call it Ruby. And of course we've got the Fast and the Furious thing coming out. I can't remember, with Vin Diesel, you know, and now I'm thinking Ruby, Diesel, interesting, kind of an interesting connection there, you know. But yeah, anyway, just nuts as well. What else we got going on here? I'll just go through these tabs. I'm just going to go through these tabs now, because I've pretty much covered the two things that I wanted to talk about with that. Look at the recorded dates as well. 31st of August. They got a 311 in there as well. And the 31st of August with Diana's death, and 8th September with the Queen's death in there as well. I mean, it's just loaded, isn't it? What am I doing? Let's go through these. Okay. Do I want to play some of this film? So I'm going to go through some films. And we'll do some 59 and 129 references while we're here. Actually, before we get onto this one, let me show you this one, right? Let's go back to a film that I've talked about before, and actually I need to go to the November Man, okay, because this is what this film is. The November Man, I've talked about it before. I don't want to spend too much time on it. The reason why November is so important, of course, that 5/11, remember, Guy Fawkes, the November Man. Again, that ties back to Madonna with Guy Ritchie. What else does that tie back to? The November Man, Billy Idol, you know, the 30th of November birthday. And all the dates within the dollar bill. There's a ton of references directly to do with November in the dollar bill. And the main one is the 10/11 of the pi reference. Please go back and check out those early decodes on the dollar bill if you're new, because there's so many interesting things with the dollar bill. But that pi date is in there. And to cut a long story short, in fact, we'll just do a little dollar bill decode. We'll just cover one of those decodes here in a minute. But there's a ton of stuff to do with November, basically, in the dollar bill. Okay, let's just leave it at that. Again, this had some personal references with the name Devereaux in here for me. What else was there with this that I wanted to say that was pretty interesting? 27th of August. The 24th of August is the counterpart date for 5/9, okay, for the May the 9th, okay. So the 27th starts looking interesting. Anytime you're like 3 days or 4 days after a date, it starts looking interesting for like rebirth ritual stuff, to me anyway. But this whole film is a hark back to Pierce Brosnan's, and again, Piers, and Bros of Arn, yeah, the brothers, the twins. It's all in his name as well, you know. But this is a throwback to, a reference back to his 007 days, and it's also a reference back to a film where he has a counterpart, which is GoldenEye. He does the dam jump in GoldenEye. I don't know if you remember that scene. But he's up against this character in GoldenEye, and there's all the references to what the hell am I thinking of here? Yanis and the twins, basically. Okay, so there's this big reference back to James Bond's alter ego, if you like, or whatever. One is the fictional man, and one is the physical man, if you like. But they re-reference this in the November Man, which is what I've got up. They called it the Spy, probably to get around copyright or something. I'm not really quite sure why they called it the Spy. Maybe it's called the Spy in another country or something. I don't know. But it might. I'm guessing it's still up because it's not said. It's not took this down or anything. Video unavailable anymore. So I'm guessing you can still watch this. But this is the character he's up against in that film. It's a spy film, and this is the kind of baddie guy, or at least portrays the baddie guy all the way, most of the way through the film, till the very end. Again, this is a Sean Bean lookalike right here, okay, and there's a reason why they've got this dude. Let's see if I can stop it in the right place.
4.
They're making a reference back to GoldenEye with this. Okay, let me see. This is really going to be difficult to get stopped in the right place. But we have some. He's looking up some information now. They used to be partners. Okay, come on, Dan. Stop it in the right place. I'll probably take 10 minutes to stop this in the right place now. Oh, come on, baby, come on. Oh, there it was. Darn it. And they gotta just flash this stuff so quick. But they are there. The references are there. Okay, if I don't get it this time, I'm not going to get it. But you can go to the video itself and you can look it up yourself if you like. You have to take my word for it. Oh dear, oh dear. Come on now. This is painful. Oh, there it was. Maybe you got a glimpse of it. The 5'9". I can't remember if it's his age. And there's also some other, I think it might be like a May 15th reference as well. A 155 reference, which is a tie back to a jump that we do in the dollar bill. Okay. Some encoding in the dollar bill there with the 155. So I can't be bothered. I'm not going back to it. But it's right at this point. 103.27. Okay. If you can find the SPY, you can go and look at it and look at, there's some other numbers on there as well, which might mean something to some other people, whatever. But anyway, that's what's going on there. The November Man, the Golden Eye, the Dam Jump. I was just watching the Fifth Element actually, and they repeat some stuff in there. They almost repeat the Dam Jump with Lilu when she's first reincarnated, and it's actually her hand. Actually, that's another interesting tie back to Madonna as well. With they find basically a part of her arm or hand, and they reconstruct her in that chamber thing. And again, that might be a nice tie back to Madonna with that arm, that suit of armor that falls off in Die Another Day, and then I think is re-referenced with the Lady Gaga, thing. Let me see. Yeah, the Lady Gaga thing, which is interesting. It's a September, so her video, music video, they have a reference, I'm pretty sure, to Madonna in that, and that happens before the reference to the Hoover Dam, and before the reference to the Golden Gate Bridge, and before the reference to the Space Needle. So it happens right at the start. So that's kind of interesting. So go watch that music video, Lady Gaga 911. And I mean, even here with the release date of that, let me show you the release date of that. September 18th. Go to the table. September the 18th is right here. It's our 911 reference and the counter to that. Okay, with the 118 reference tied into it. But this is it right here. September the 18th, right there. And that is again part of our number jump. These numbers coming down through here give us a reference back to this date, okay, and back to 100, which is pretty important as well with Madonna. I'll put back on Madonna again here, but that reference with 100 and Madonna, the 100-day jump, and the 100 of the dollar bill, the 100 pennies. Again, if we go from her birthday, click to calculate, minus 100 days backwards, it takes us to May 8th. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah, well, that's just interesting, isn't it? Because, these numbers right here, this is a 100-day jump. Okay. We're going 7,810 days from 9/11, and then we're doing 7,000. What did I just say? 7,810 days from 9/11, and then we're doing 7,910 days, which is a difference of 100 right here. This is a difference of 100. And so Lady Gaga is referencing this, and that itself right there, that difference of 100, again, could tie back to the 5/8. Well, it's now actually today. I've gone over again. We're into 5/8, so that's interesting. But anyway, getting sidetracked again with blooming Madonna and Die Another Day. And of course, what was I going to say about this? Oh yeah, this has got the October the 22nd again, which is that train crash. And also with the length here, this length, check this out, right? This is 4:38, right? 4 minutes 38 long, right? if I go back to April, the 4th month, okay, here's 30, okay, and let's just go 8. Let's go 38. Actually, it will take us to the 8th. Are you following what I'm saying there? 438. So the 38th day of April, if you like. Well, there's no 38th day of April. We've just got to count on 8 more days from the 30th of April, and that will take us to, you know, May the 8th, 237. Okay, that reference 237, you know, room 237 with the old ugly whore in The Shining, you know. And again, 237 is a reference back to, it's also a reference back to Washington, his birth year. I think you have to change calendars to get to that day, though. I'm not sure. But anyway, just while I'm on the subject of Washington, I'll go to the 5-9 reference here. But I just caught this, and there's some interesting stuff in it. This is a guy called Jacob Israel. Bye Bye Miss American Pie was the title of his video, and he had this on there, the dollar bill with the omega sign, which I've talked about before in my old decodes. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if he's going to be talking about something that I've done here, you know. But this is reference from another guy, somebody called Donut, I think. I'm not sure, which is kind of interesting because my dog's called Donut. But this I don't know if I've outlined it like this before in a video, but I've definitely talked about the omega symbol here, because this is the alpha that's sitting inside the omega, yeah. And of course the dam itself, that gravity shape of the dam, you could call it a horseshoe dam as well. That is the horseshoe, yeah. It's the womb, yeah. The horseshoe, the omega sign, okay, is a womb shape, yeah. And here's the opening here, okay. And actually all the way through that video, the Blue Monday video, they do have a 0 attached to 2 1s during that whole thing, okay, which is kind of what you have with the omega. But you have the birthing canal right here, yeah. If you can see my cursor on this little omega sign here, you know, and this is the idea. This thing's going to be flushed out, you know, the alpha is going to come out of the dam, but this is the alpha omega, the beginning and the end, okay. Again, it was just interesting to come across somebody that had picked up on that symbolism in there. Maybe not in the same way that I'm talking about it now, but it was interesting that somebody else has come up with that. I don't know if you've seen one of my videos, or whether that's just the amount of times that I've come across somebody else doing stuff that I'm just about to talk about, or I have just talked about. It's uncanny the amount of times that happens. It's almost like, I don't know, there's some kind of conscious theme running at the time. I'm not sure how to explain that, but it does appear to be like a wave of, like, this idea comes through and a whole bunch of people pick up on it, either by themselves or because of something they've seen, or whatever. For whatever reason, those ideas seem to start manifesting around the same time. But anyway, it was just interesting because he had this Bye Bye Miss American Pie title to it as well, and I'm like, oh, okay, you know. And what he's actually talking about with the omega here is this weather pattern that's over the US right now. Okay, that's the reference there that he's talking about. But the Bye Bye Miss American Pie is a reference to, get this, I can't remember exactly, but it seemed like it was something like on Twitter or Facebook or something. There was somebody had posted that it was something to do with Korea, was singing that song at some function. It's just weird. You know, that there was a Korea. I don't know if I'm pretty sure it must have been a South Korea. I don't know what it was, but it was something to do with Korea, whether it was North or South, I don't know. Singing "Bye Bye Miss American Pie" at some kind of function. So that was interesting. Um, you'd have to go watch this video to find out what it was, because I couldn't be bothered to go back through and find the actual spot. Sorry, being real lazy on this one. Gosh, where do I want to go from here? Let's go. Let me show you the 5-9 that is right here. You know, kind of with the omega sign. Okay. Here we go. So this is an old decode. Well, not that old of a decode, but now it's not going to come up. Come on. Okay, I'm on an old silver certificate version of the dollar bill here. Okay, there we go, silver certificate. So this got changed a little bit when they did the newer version. But if we go to the old version and we count leaves and berries, this is how I do most of my decodes on the dollar bill. You can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 leaves here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 berries. Okay, and then if you come over to this side, you do the same. I'm talking leaves that you can see real easily. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 berries. All right. Well, what's interesting about this particular image is there is another leaf underneath here. Okay, you can make that one out pretty good, and you can actually make the edge of it out pretty good. Okay, so there is actually, I think this is done deliberately to reference 5-8, which of course is today now, and also 5-9. Okay, with this other half leaf here, and we've got the same on the other side. It's less obvious on the other side. Okay, now if you go to the newer version of the dollar bill, what's even more interesting is that's completely gone, that hint of an extra leaf there. Okay, so we have a 5-8 on this side, but what's interesting on this side is they've left that edge of the one leaf, that extra one leaf there. So there's a good 5-8 reference, and of course there's 88, 55, all those other references with this. And 88 and 55 are super important because they are, again, these two columns here. Okay, the metaphysical and the physical columns, the twin towers here in the table. You know, 55 and 88. You know, these are the totals for these two columns. Okay, that's what's so important about those numbers, right? Amongst other things. I mean, there's just tons of stuff with this, with the reference with 55 and 88. But again, they've left that hint of a leaf there. Okay, I mean, only if you went back to the silver certificate would you know that there was actually really supposed to be a leaf there. So again, it's like, this is a 5-9 as well here. Okay, so there's our 5-9 reference. And again, when you go back and do my decodes and you find the fold markers that are in here, let me show you one of the fold markers. Right here, here's a fold marker. These are all fold markers. Okay, these little owl or moth looking things here, or could be angels as well, like it's at the Hoover Dam. This is, if you fold this right here and come across, what you'll end up with is you'll end up with water coming over the dam. You'll end up with these ruffles here, which forms the water coming over the dam. Okay, but again, it was just super interesting to come across somebody that was making that reference to the dollar bill. I mean, I haven't gone as far as me with the decode, of course, but people are seeing these things. I can't be completely crazy is what I'm saying, can I? I don't know. Okay, what else we got? What else we got here? I'm trying to give credit to myself there that I'm not completely nuts. The Fifth Element. Well, I got sidetracked on the Fifth Element. They almost do a dam jump scene with her before she kind of goes off. It kind of reminded me of the scene in The Fugitive, where Tommy Lee is and Harrison Ford's at the end of the tunnel. They're ready to jump off the dam, and he does jump off the dam. And the same thing happens in in The Fifth Element, she jumps off the edge of the building essentially, but there's kind of that tunnel scene with the police trying to get her, and then she ends up falling into Bruce's taxi. Okay, and there's a ton of stuff in here. There is a nice 5'9" reference when I think when they bring her back to life. Again, the gauntlet is the reference there with Madonna, and they bring her back to life. And what was I going to say about it? He mentions, I'm pretty sure he mentions at some point anyway. They mention her height, and it's 5'9". Okay, so there's another 5'9" reference there as well. Okay, so the 5'9s, they're in films, but if you weren't looking for them, you wouldn't even know they were there. You know, realistically, this whole retro causality thing that I think is, I've got a hard time, going down that. I mean, it's a nice idea and all, but for me, unless you're really looking for that stuff in films, you're not going to see it most of the time anyway. So this idea that suddenly stuff's appearing that wasn't there before, it was always there. You just didn't have the eyes to look before. That's what it boils down to for me. When you really start studying stuff and you really start looking, then and it's like a lot of these numbers in the table here. When you really start looking, I mean, there's so many of them that pop up. The 213, that pops up so much. What else am I thinking of here? I don't know off the top of my head, but you see these numbers, the 521, that pops up a lot. It depends what you're looking for at the time, I guess. I'm not sure. Okay, anyway, am I going to leave The Fifth Element alone? Again, the whole film, the symbolisms in the whole film, exactly what we're dealing with. It's the same metaphor again with the rebirth stuff and the fight against evil and all this stuff. It's all just the same metaphor. I want to show you this as well. Ruby Tuesday. So there's in America, if you're English, you might not know this, but obviously Americans will know this. There's a restaurant chain called Ruby Tuesdays. Okay, and in fact, I think it's named. I'm sure I saw it in Wikipedia. It's named after the song. Okay, so it's come from that song, the name. They did this event. It's a fake event, and what they're doing here is they're gonna. I think this is like the last, supposedly. I don't know if I'm getting this right or not, but supposedly this is the last Ruby Tuesdays, and they're gonna blow it up of the old style version of it, and they're building all new. I guess it was an idea of a reincarnation again of the brand, maybe, or something. I'm not really quite sure what the hell's going on here, but they're going to blow this thing up, okay? And I think I've mentioned this before in an older video somewhere. They're going to blow this thing up, and what happens is they end up blowing up the wrong building, okay? So this is quite a, I don't know. I don't know how you would describe this, but this demolition job, okay, this reference to demolition, it's just interesting. The place that they actually end up blowing is called Cheeky's Bar and Grill, but this is what they end up doing here, okay. So this sort of sets this, I don't know, puts a date out there anyway for us to look at, okay. So if I can find I had it up here somewhere. Here it is. So I just, put in Google, well, when did this happen? And it says in August 2008, so 28, which again is the mirror of 58, okay? The restaurant chain, which has over 950 outlets across the US, no doubt. And I think I saw in in Wikipedia that they went down to 200 and maybe 209. It was a 29 reference anyway, and I'm like, oh, we've got a 5, 9, and 29 reference, which was interesting. Promoted the end of a major remodeling project. Okay, yeah, a reset. Blow up the last old Ruby Tuesday. Okay, in a live demolition, right? When does it take place? 3 p.m., which is interesting because if we switch that to 24-hour clock, that's 1500 hours, which is kind of interesting with the 510 re-reference numerologically speaking of May Day. So we've got that. Also, that's a 315 reference, which, if you can follow my stuff, 315 is also a reference back. It basically references the start and the finish of the cycle through the number of days, okay? Without getting too complicated on it and without spending a whole bunch of time explaining that. And there's a couple other places where it shows up in the table as well. But there we go with that. And we've got an 8-5 reference, a 5-8. Ruby Tuesday 5-8, okay, 5th of August here. So again, 2008 is a mirror 5-8, and the 5th of August is a 5-8. So I don't know. Ruby Tuesday today. Now, maybe it's Ruby Tuesday today. And that's, again, all I can say is the Red River, the River of Blood in The Shining, the Colorado River, okay, the color red, the rust, okay, Russell is red, okay, that river's gonna maybe restart flowing again, okay, that's maybe the idea there. But this idea with the demo job, I just thought that was nuts. Demolition Man. Gee, Liz. Let's keep going through it. Let's keep going through it all. I think I've covered near enough everything here. Kit Hoover. What am I talking about Kit Hoover for? Let me show you something. When we were watching the Kentucky Derby, I just thought this was interesting. They had an advert at the start of that thing, and they had celebrities. This was on ABC. Oh, NBC, sorry. They had celebrities doing their pick of who they thought was going to win, okay? And this old gal, I've never heard of her before, but her name is Kit Hoover. And they link her to Two Phils. Okay, obviously Two Phils didn't win the race, but the point is they've linked Hoover with Two Phils here. Okay, and the Two Phils, obviously the Twin Towers. Okay, so this is it's just nuts, it's just absolutely nuts. What else do I want to say? The Phillips 66, Route 66, yeah. Code 66, maybe that's what we're in right now. Blimey now. So I thought that was interesting, worth mentioning at least. Spend the night together. We don't need to look at that again. 329. Oh, I thought this was interesting because I recently have just had in my own life what I'd call a Patrick Stewart reference with my family. Okay, it's just a synchronicity. Okay, and then I got talking to somebody about Q, or I can't remember exactly how the conversation went in some comments, but Q Who. Okay, this is an episode of The Next Generation. Okay, season 2, episode 16. So we've got some interesting numbers there, and production code is 142. Again, some interesting stuff with that number. Again, 24th letter of the alphabet. Am I thinking it's the Greek alphabet that is the 24th letter, or what? with the omega, the last letter of the alphabet there. Again, that is 4224. Okay. But yeah, Q Who. That just kind of says it all, doesn't it? And the original air date, May the 8th, 1989. Okay, with the 8/9 of Queen's death and May the 8th. So Q Who. I think I've not been back and rewatched it. It's when they first encounter the Borg. So I mean, I don't know what to say about it, to be quite honest. I think I can remember watching it as a kid when I read through what happens in it, but I haven't been back and had a look. So anyway, just interesting with that date and Q Who with the Hoover Dam. Okay, what else have I got in here? Boom, boom, boom. Who's that girl? I thought this was interesting. Who's that girl? We did have 358, 58 in the length of that. So okay, what else have we got? Billy Idol. Billy Idol, right? With the Cradle of Love and that decode. The 439, right? This is also interesting with 439, like doing that same thing with Madonna, counting on from April the 30th and counting on 8 more days. You can do the same thing here and count on 9 more days, and this will take you to 59, which I thought was, again, I thought was interesting. Yeah, check out side B, 311 man. Okay. Does it need any more? Do I need to explain every little thing? I'm not sure what I need to explain to people. I don't think we need to do Billy Idol. We've done. Oh, let's do this guy. I can't remember if I mentioned this in a previous video, but this is just so interesting. Henry J. Kaiser or Kaiser. Not quite sure how you say that. Born. Before I get into it, this is one of the guys that built the Hoover Dam, okay, or at least his company did, okay, or one of the companies that built the Hoover Dam, okay. May 9th is his birthday, okay. That's interesting, right? For obvious reasons. August the 24th. That is the counterpart day to May 29th. August the 24th is when he dies. That is kind of mental as well. Excuse me. So I just thought I'd re-mention that. If I can't remember if I mentioned it or not. Some interesting birthdays. I just picked out Albert Finney because I did have a film that I wanted to talk about, which I don't have up here now, and I can't remember the name of the film. It's got oh blimmin' hell, what's the name in it? What's Charlie Sheen's dad's name? I can't remember. But anyway, it's got him in it as well, and it's basically a bank heist film. And they go in to do this through the sewer system, obviously a reference back to the waterworks. And in fact, they go over a little weir when they're going down, trying to get into the bank. And of course, the bank represents. So they're going to do this bank job. They're going to break into a bank and rob it. Okay. And of course, the bank is the dam. It's the place that holds the wealth or holds the energy. Okay. And energy is basically it's just basically your time or my time, okay, which is converted into money, which then sits in the bank. This is what the Hoover Dam does. It controls us. It takes our energy, okay, and takes it for itself. So the matrix is the bank, is the dam, etc. Okay, that's the system we're stuck in. So they're going to rob the thing. What was interesting about it was the fact that they went in through the sewer system, and also when they're in their case in the joint, okay, he has a security box in the vault, and it's called Loophole. That's it. Loophole is the name of the film. And of course, that's what we're looking for with the omega sign. We're looking for the hole in the loop to get out of the system. I just thought it was interesting with the name Loophole as well. And that's also, the loophole. The loop is the Vesica Pisces. The hole is the Vesica Pisces. That's the thing we've got to come out of again, But getting sidetracked. There is an interesting scene where they have the boxes behind them, and the numbers that are right behind the two characters, Sheen and Finney, while they're talking in there. There's some interesting numbers, like references to 9/11 and that kind of thing. That was just super interesting. And also the fact that they end up, spoiler alert, they end up having to leave the heist quickly because it ends up raining and causing a flood. Again, the deluge and coming out of the system. So that was an interesting film. And it wasn't a bad film, actually. For an older film, I quite enjoyed it. Other interesting characters. We'll just do one other interesting character. Billy Joel. And I don't know if you've noticed, but Billy, again with Billy Idol, Billy Joel, Idel and Joel, and kind of interesting. And of course, just so many loaded songs. Yeah. Just so many loaded songs. That's all I'm going to say about that. So anyway, I don't really do too much more there. For some strange reason, I've got this tab up, Don't Bring Me Down by ELO. I think I was just listening to one day on the radio, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to look that up, because Don't Bring Me Down, Don't Bring Me Down, Bruce. Okay. 24th of August again. Okay. The counterpart date to 5/9. Okay. And look at the length, 4/2. Okay. The end. Right. The beginning and the end. And of course they've got a ton of other interesting songs, which I'm not going to go into right now. There was this song. There was this one here as well. A Bob Shaw film again, Diamonds. I think I've mentioned it before because I was talking about Richard. Was it his name? Richard Roundtree, who played Shaft, was in this as well. There's a ton of references in this film. In fact, he is playing a twin. Okay, and they're doing a bank job again. Okay, the bank job is getting that wealth out of the dam. Yeah, coming out of the dam. Okay. So again, what happens with the box numbers here? I'm going to play just a little bit. You'll hear he has a box in the bank vault here as well, and we'll see what number that is. But they have a ton of references in this thing. In fact, they're being followed by the police, so the police know they're going to do a job. And what ends up happening is they make like a fake. They do like a fake job. They pretend like they're going to do this other job, right, that they're not doing, to sidetrack the police. Okay, and the job is, it's the crown of the Virgin Mary. Okay, and so they end up making a fake crown that they're going to replace the real one with and steal the real crown. And it's just like, really? The reference to the Virgin Mary and the crown, and there's just a ton of stuff in it. But not as good a film as Loophole. But again, let's just listen to a little part of this now.
By the way, when you come to box 291, would you be very careful, because that contains my personal possessions?
Okay, you heard it, 291. Okay, there's a little snippet of it. Anyway, I don't want to spoil the film. If you want to watch it, there's no point in me going through the reference there. It's just super interesting. and it's not too terrible of a film to sit and watch. That's it. Boy, oh boy. So, again, I'm going to be watching today, for sure, with Madonna. And if something happens with Madonna today, I'll go absolutely nuts. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, you know. Again, the whole reason why I keep going on about Madonna is because it's just such a good reference for what is the fictional side of the system, the metaphysical representation of the system has to croak it. You know, that thing has to be destroyed before man can be reborn. Okay, that's the thing that has to be destroyed. In fact, that is actually the sacrifice that we have to make, is that false ego, which then turns into, or I don't know, it manifests into a reality around us as well. Our own false ego, you know, we put that into the world, and that's what the world becomes as well. So we have a reality that is not, it's not true anymore. Okay, we're in the fictional twin. We're in the matrix. Okay, we're living that role, and that's the self-sacrifice that has to be made. That's the thing that has to go up on the cross and be rebalanced. You know. I gotta leave it there. God knows how long that is. Quite a lot of waffle. Quite a lot of interesting stuff though. You know. I mean, that is probably there's probably about, if I was to do everything properly, there's probably about 10 hours worth of stuff there really to go through. So it's a pretty short one. I'm gonna leave it there. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed, and it'll be interesting to see what happens here in the next couple of days. Maybe we get lucky and the whole system doesn't completely implode in the next couple of days. But again, realistically speaking, that's what really has to happen in order to break free of the matrix. You know, that's really what has to happen. You'll come to a conclusion, like I have, that that's actually the only thing. That's the only thing that, you know, that can free us, basically. So again, you know. Oh dear. Alright, well, anyway. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you on another one, hopefully fairly shortly. Alright, cheers, bye.